Hello everyone. In the last two lectures, we were discussing about religion, and still there are few more topics left in that. So that we'll be discussing after 2 days. So as per the schedule, we are going to discuss one interesting chapter in anthropology, that is Australopithecus. This is one of the tough topic in our subject. And my very intention of starting or discussing this topic now is to expose you to even the tough portion of the syllabus. So this is one of the toughest part in the science portion of or the physical anthropology. And if you can understand what I'm discussing here, then anthropology will be a cakewalk for you. Okay, so that's why we are discussing this topic much in advance. So Australopithecus, is he from Australia? So now let us discuss what is there in the syllabus. Phylogenetic status, characteristics, and geographical distribution of the following: Pleistocene hominids in South and East Africa, not South and East and Africa, South and East Africa. Australopithecines. Australopithecines. See, what do you mean by phylogenetic status? First, let me explain you the content in the syllabus first. Phylogenetic status means, see, our anthropologists have discovered one fossil. One fossil. I will explain you what do you mean by a fossil. And this fossil, right, suppose if it is 2-3 lakh years old, 2 or 3 lakh years old. And if this fossil contains some anatomical features which are similar to that of human beings, and after studying that thoroughly, if our anthropologists, if they understand and if they declare that this particular fossil is in the line of human evolution, that means if we have evolved from this particular fossil, we can place this fossil in the line of human evolution. Yes, we have descended from this fossil. So we are keeping this fossil in the line of human evolution, right? That is called as phylogenetic status. We will discuss in length about phylogenetic status. So nothing much to worry now. Then after that, what is this? So before that, phylogenetic status, characteristics, and geographical distribution. Along with this, we should also discuss briefly about the discovery of the fossil also. That will give you a greater understanding. So along with this, we will also be discussing about the discovery of these fossils. Then what are these terms? Pleistocene hominids. I hope all these terms should be very new for you. Pleistocene. First, let me explain you what do you mean by this Pleistocene. So this refers to a particular period in our geological time scale. Say for example, I will show you our geological time scale. Briefly, our geological time scale, I have also added this in your material. Please, to be honest, there is no need to read anything in this. This is just meant one and only for your understanding. So you just leave this. I will briefly explain you what exactly this is. How old is our Earth? How old is our Earth? Our Earth, right, roughly it is some 5 billion years old. 5 billion years. Okay. So in this, a number of geological events happened. So initially, right, during the formation, how it was like, and how it got cooled, condensed, and how it got the perfect spherical shape, and after that, how our planet started producing oxygen, how water managed to occur in that planet. Many geological events happened. Along with that, you also know in geography, you might have read how the continents have drifted and how we have reached the present stage. All these events, right, happened in the 5 billion years. 1 billion is equal to 100 crores. 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. 1 billion is equal to 100 million. Okay. So our Earth is 5 billion years old. 5 billion years old. In this, at least in the last 600 million years, our geologists have good idea about what are all the geological events which happened on the Earth's surface. So there is no need to worry beyond 600 million years. Sorry, 600 million years. What exactly happened? So I told you our Earth is roughly 5 billion years old. Let us start from 600 million years ago. 600 million years ago. So from this right until now, very clearly, all the geological events which happened on the Earth's surface right now were documented very clearly. So this has been, the 600 million years has been classified into 4 important phases. We have primary period, secondary, tertiary, and then quaternary. Primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. So no need to worry about Paleozoic, Cenozoic, Mesozoic. Those terms, right, do not trouble yourself in reading or knowing all those things. Just simply let us assume primary period, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. This primary period, right, this again starts from 600 million years and it ends roughly around 240 million years. Okay, so this period, right, is again subdivided into Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, Silurian, Devonian, Carboniferous, and then Permian. 6 important phases during the primary period. Okay, then comes the secondary period, which started roughly around 240 million years ago, and this phase continued almost up to 60 million years ago. This phase is further divided into Triassic, Jurassic, and then Cretaceous. Then comes the Tertiary period. Geologically, right, this Cretaceous period is very, very important. So during a Cretaceous period, Arabian Sea was not there. The Himalayan mountains were not there. So it was during the Cretaceous period what happened. The Arabian Sea, the current Arabian Sea region, right, that region flanked inside and water managed to penetrate inside, forming the Arabian Sea. Exactly, it was during the Cretaceous period. There were a large number of volcanic eruptions which happened in the Deccan region, in the peninsular region. Our Deccan Plateau, right? Plateau in part of Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh and part of Karnataka, the Deccan Plateau. So, this Deccan Plateau, right, evolved during this Cretaceous period only. There were number of volcanic eruptions and there were number of geological events which happened during the Cretaceous period, which was responsible for majority of the landforms in our Earth's surface, our current Earth surface, Cretaceous period. So this is the importance of a Cretaceous period. Further, this Cretaceous period also noticed the great mass extinction, the mass extinction on the earth. I will just discuss about this mass extinction in later lectures. So what happened to the dinosaurs? So one meteor or one asteroid which came and collided with our earth right near the Yucatan Plateau in Peninsula, the Yucatan Plateau in Mexico. That created a number of issues which led to the extinction of not just dinosaurs. 70% of the species on the earth vanished. It took close to around 15 million years for the other larger organisms to come back on the earth's surface. Okay, so that is the importance of a Cretaceous period. Then comes the Tertiary period. The Tertiary period, right, this is again classified into Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene, and then Pliocene. If you even add one more period here, that is the Paleocene. So then comes the Quaternary period, finally, which starts roughly around 1 million years ago and it continues even now. We are living in the Quaternary period. This is further subdivided into Pleistocene and the Holocene. We are currently living in Holocene period. Guys, there is no need to remember or there is no need to memorize this geological time scale. I am just showing this only for understanding. If you know what is the meaning of Pleistocene by seeing this, that is sufficient. Okay. So what is the importance of a Tertiary period in our geological time scale? So you might have heard about the Tertiary fold mountains. So this Tertiary period, that is the last 60 million years, right? This is very importantly known for mountain formation. Most of the fold mountains on earth, most of the fold mountains. Can you tell me some example for fold mountains on earth? Himalayas, that is a fold mountain. The Rockies, the Andes mountains, the Alps, these all are example for tertiary fold mountains. That means the folded mountains which originated during the tertiary period. All these mountains are very tall and lofty. Correct? Tertiary fold mountains. And similarly, right, see, can you see here? Pliocene and then Pleistocene. Pliocene and then Pleistocene. So by Plio Pleistocene hominids, we refer to those of human ancestors. Hominids means we human beings belong to the family Hominidae. Hominidae. There is one super family Hominidae that we'll discuss later. So we belong to the family Hominidae and our scientific name is Homo sapiens sapiens. This is genus name. This one species and this is subspecies. So a number of species together forms one genus. A number of genus together forms one family. Like that, the taxonomy goes up to animal kingdom. So we human beings belong to the family Hominidae, and by Pleistocene hominids, we are referring to our human ancestors who lived during the Pliocene and Pleistocene period. Pliocene and the Pleistocene period. So are you okay with this thing, Pliocene and Pleistocene? Pliocene is a part of a tertiary period. It roughly starts from 5-6 million years ago. Okay, so Pliocene and Pleistocene. By Pleistocene hominids, we refer to those apes or those human ancestors who lived roughly between this Pliocene and Pleistocene period. Got it? And there are a few important things which I need to tell you about the Quaternary period. I told you the Quaternary period roughly starts some 1 million years ago. You say 1.5, 1.4, whatever may be the thing. Roughly right, this Quaternary period is divided into two. Pleistocene and the Holocene. Pleistocene and the Holocene. Pleistocene, right? Roughly between say 1 million years ago, and it continued up to 10,000 years ago. What exactly happened 10,000 years ago? We are dividing this Quaternary period into two, Pleistocene and the Holocene. Holocene technically means post-glacial. Post-glacial. So it happened during Pleistocene period. In the past 1 million years. So in the Pleistocene period, what happened? The temperature on the Earth's surface, it kept fluctuating at a greater rate. Now, even now, right, our Earth is witnessing a climate change, global warming. On an average, right, summers are becoming hotter and hotter, becoming warm and warmer. And we are taking number of steps to contain this. we think or we assume that this change in climate or the global warming is because of a number of anthropogenic activities. That is, activities because of human beings. Can somebody tell me what these human activities are which are responsible for this global warming? Burning of fossil fuels. Correct? So we burn fossil fuels and we emit lot of gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. So this creates the so-called greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect. In villages, you can see farmers using green glass houses. We even call it as greenhouse. Nothing but there will be one shelter where the roof will be made out of glass. Okay, so these roof will be made out of glass. So what happens actually when the sunlight comes in, it cannot escape out. As a result, artificially there will be a high temperature here, and it may increase the humidity and it may help in crop growth. Similarly, this carbon dioxide, right, and carbon monoxide, it is creating such an environment, greenhouse effect. As a result, we think that the global temperature is increasing. So come back to our Pleistocene period. I told you it happened in the last 1 million years. It happened 4 times that the average temperature of the earth went much below normal. As a result, the Arctic-like cold condition prevailed throughout the earth. These are called as ice ages. Ice ages. So it happened 4 times. And these events, right? Are named as Gunz, Mindel, Race, and War. These phases are called as glacial, and this gap right between two glacials, this we call it as interglacial. Okay, so what happened? There was large scale climatic fluctuations. So because of this climatic fluctuation, what happened? 4 times ice ages were reported in this Pleistocene period. Suddenly, right, the temperature will drop, and the Arctic-like cold conditions, snowfall, accumulation of snow, formation of glaciers. These events were noticed even in the tropical regions, tropical and the subtropical regions. So Earth was literally covered by ice during this period. So it happened 4 times. See, this fluctuating climate, right, this was very much responsible for the evolution of human beings. We human beings, we are here on Earth largely because of these ice ages. It is this climatic stress which made human beings to evolve. How? That we will be discussing shortly. Okay? So, by 10,000 years ago, these ice ages came to an end. With this marks the end of Pleistocene period, and the next phase in which we are living now, right? This is called as a Holocene. Holocene. Holocene technically means Holocene technically means post-glacial. Post-glacial. So shortly I will explain you how the fluctuating climate, how these provided lot of stress which made our human beings or our human ancestors to evolve to reach this current form. Okay. So now let us go back to our topic Australopithecus. Now are you comfortable with the term Pleistocene? So now you all should be comfortable with the term Pleistocene hominids in South and East Africa. Okay, so by Pleistocene we refer to the Pliocene period of the Tertiary epoch and the Pleistocene period of Pleistocene of the Quaternary period. Pleistocene. So I told you fossil. What do you mean by fossil? Fossil refers to the hardened remains of plants and animals. These are hardened. So these animals, right, might have lived in the past, not just a few thousand years, even a few million years. See, but generally once when an organism dies and if it get buried in the earth, or even if it is left on the surface, immediately our immune system will stop working and our body itself will start releasing some chemicals into the atmosphere or into the environment which attracts a number of microbes to come and decompose the body. All the tissues, right, will get decomposed in a matter of 1 or 2 years, and the bones, right, hardly it may remain some 20, 30 years. So maybe after 50 years, right, nothing might have been left. But sometimes it happens that the chemical environment in this particular region, right, the chemical environment here, will not allow the decomposition of the dead organism. So that means there may be some chemicals which may prevent the microbial activity. Limestone is one particular such thing. Limestone, right, it hardly permits any microbial activity. So limestone rich regions, right, these are rich in fossils. Or sometimes, right, once when an organism get buried, there may be an volcanic eruption from nearby region and there may be a flow of lava, volcanic lava. This lava, right, because of the heat, it might have eliminated all the microbes or pathogens here, and the absence of microbes will allow this organism to remain as such without getting decomposed. Such a hardened remain, right, we call it as an fossil. If you go to a museum, right, in every museum you can see some fossils. In our National Museum in New Delhi. So once, right, in your preparation, once when you are there in Delhi, there are few places which you can go and have a look. One important such thing is the National Museum located near to our India Gate in Janpath, National Museum. So once when you enter the museum, immediately right to the left there is one huge gallery meant for the Harappan civilization. That is the Indus Valley civilization. And there right we can now, they have kept one fossil of one woman who lived some 4,000 years ago. 4,000 years ago. Okay. I'm saying it is not only the limestone, if the chemical environment of that particular region permits no microbial activity, it may preserve the dead organisms there. This we call it as fossils. So fossils are actual hardened remains of an organism. Sometimes even the hardened remains may not be there. Even an impression of an organism's leg or feet on a rock, right? Even that is a fossil. If there is only an impression, even that is a fossil. Okay, good. So most of the fossil discoveries, right, it happened largely in the area where people were quarrying or people were mining for some minerals. Mostly, right, these limestone quarries and where we quarried for coal and other minerals, right, were the very important regions from where we managed to discover a number of fossils. Okay. So now let us go back to our topic, Australopithecus. You all should be familiar with this picture. This symbolizes or this shows human evolution. Recently, I saw one funny post. One little kid was asking its mom, "Mom, you said God created us. But dad is saying we descended from monkeys. Mommy, which is true?" She said, both are true, baby. I was saying you about our line of evolution, and your daddy was speaking about his line of evolution. But whatever may be the case, we didn't descend from monkeys. We didn't descend from our close relatives like chimpanzee, gorilla, orangutan. A chimpanzee almost looks like human being, right? How close they are related to human beings. A gorilla, a orangutan. Orangutan, right, it behaves like a human being. A orangutan, right, immediately after giving birth to a baby, it will make it sure that the newborn baby get nourished properly. At least for next 3 or 4 years, it take care of the baby in such a way that the baby will become a healthy individual. Then only when that baby is in a baby orangutan is in a position to lead an independent life, the mother will think about the next baby. Child spacing. Okay. So though we are closely related to this chimpanzee, gorilla, orangutan, even taxonomically, right, they are placed very close to us. We didn't descend from these living primates. We have our own primitive ancestors. This theory was given by Charles Darwin without having any idea about the fossils. In the year almost near 1861, he published the very famous book Origin of Species. In that he mentions that we human beings didn't descend from the contemporary living monkeys or apes or primates. We had our own ancestor, a lesser human forms from whom we have evolved. Yes, this is true. Now the fossil evidence proves that we had our own less human forms from which we have evolved. This picture, right, symbolizes this. Maybe some 10 million years ago, we human beings, right, we were completely arboreal. We lived by brachiation. Brachiation means jumping between branches and branches like a monkey. Okay, some 10 million years we were like this. We were there on the treetop. We were not in a position to come down and roam freely on the ground. I'll tell you why. And soon after some time, right, the environment permitted us to climb down from the trees and to move on the earth. So from a completely quadrupedal locomotion, I'll tell you what do you mean by quadrupedal. Quadrupedal means using all the four limbs, forearms, two hands and legs, all the four limbs for locomotion. That we call it as quadrupedal. Slowly in the course of evolution, we became bipedal. We started walking using only two legs and our forearms became free so that we can use it for a variety of purpose. We can use it or to hit a person. We can use it to make a stone tool. We can use it to hunt animals. Correct? Forearms became free and this was a very important aspect of human evolution. Quadrupedal to bipedal. Australopithecus is one such ape here. In fact, Australopithecus was the first ape to have a bipedal locomotion. So what do you mean by Australopithecus? See, Australopithecus, right? This refers to a collection of hominids. That means they are our human ancestors. Fossilized forms. They were in fossil forms and they were discovered here and there, mostly from Africa. Almost all the fossils of Australopithecus were discovered only from Africa. We couldn't find these fossils from the other part of the continent, other part of the world. The term Australopithecus has nothing to do with Australia. Australo means southern, they say southern continent or the southern part of the hemisphere. This is southern ape, the ape which came from the southern part of the world. Okay. So the Australopithecus, right, they were terrestrial. They were bipedal. They were ape-like. I'll tell you what do you mean by an ape. Ape means our human ancestor. As I told you, right, we didn't descend from monkeys or chimpanzees. We have descended from apes. Okay, ape-like. And they had a large jaw, which was meant for biting and chewing. This Australopithecus, right, roughly it lived between 4.18 to 2 million years ago. We can roughly say it lived between 4 to 2 million years ago. 4 to 2 million years ago. This Australopithecus, right, by around 2 million years ago, it was evolving, and Australopithecus got evolved into Homo habilis. Homo habilis, right? So in Australopithecus, we had 50 percentage human-like and 50 percentage ape-like characters, primitive characters. In Homo habilis, a little bit improvement, more human-like. The Homo habilis further evolved to form Homo erectus. The Homo erectus further evolved to form Homo sapiens. And within Homo sapiens, there are three important stages of evolution: Neanderthals, the Cro-Magnon Grimaldi Chancelloridae, and finally our Homo sapiens sapiens. Okay, so this is how the evolution happened. Australopithecus, right, truly they were human ancestors. There are number of anatomical evidences to suggest that Australopithecus were in the line of human evolution. So as I told you, Australopithecus roughly lived between 4 to 2 million years ago. They were terrestrial. Terrestrial means they live on the earth's surface. That means they were not, opposite to terrestrial is arboreal. Arboreal means living on treetop. So prior to Australopithecus, most of our ancestors were arboreal and they lived by brachiation. That is jumping between branches and branches. Australopithecus was the first ape to have a bipedal locomotion, that is to walk with two legs and to move on the earth's surface. They were not arboreal. What exactly was the reason? See, prior to because this was largely because of a climate change. Prior to this, some 5-6 million years ago, Earth was, see, on the area in which this Australopithecus lived, right? These areas were occupied by a rainforest type of vegetation. How many of you have seen a rainforest? In India, do we have rainforest? Yes, we have. On the western side of Western Ghats. So where do we have, it's a wrong map actually, it's not showing correct area. Gujarat becomes very small here. So where do we have a rainforest in our country? So along the western side of Western Ghats, here we have Western Ghats. Okay, so in the Western Ghats, right, east, west Arabian Sea side. Here, right, in the western side of the Western Ghats, at an altitude of between 700 to 1400 meters above sea level, we have the pure evergreen forest. In Nilgiris, we call this as a chola forest. Then these forests are found in this entire northeastern region also. Here also we have the rainforest. The Andaman and Nicobar group of islands, right, here also we have this rainforest. So, for an area to have rainforest, right, there should be a minimum of 200 centimeters of rainfall. There are few regions here in Kerala, Karnataka border where it rains more than 400 centimeter per year. So this area is ideally suitable for the rainforest to survive. So in a rainforest like vegetation, right, because of very high rainfall, so there will be an luxurious growth of vegetation. And trees, right, generally trees will be multi-layered. There will be competition between the trees. Once in this Kerala Karnataka border, there is one place called as Kutta, and there is one beautiful waterfalls there. And once I had been there, that is the middle of a rainforest. That is in fact a semi-evergreen forest, semi-rainforest. There I couldn't believe one mango tree. That mango tree was so tall, it was like a coconut tree. How tall it is. So generally we see mango trees will be like this, right? That mango tree was like this. Tall tree, branches going like this. Adaptation to that climate. Because for the competition for sunlight, right? For sunlight, the plants here compete with other plants. As a result, they grow taller, taller and taller. So generally the very important aspect of rainforest is the trees will be found in multi-layered canopy. That means there will be one layer of short trees, next layer of medium tall trees, next layer of tall trees, and there may be one more layer of very tall trees. 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. And it is not possible for sunlight to penetrate here. And even the rain water, right, will not reach the ground directly. It will reach only as see, after falling on the leaves, right, it just comes and drops here. Even rain water will not reach the ground directly. So if you are there, the surface side will be very dark in fact. And in the ground level, we cannot see too much of grasses. Because what happens in ground level, right, trees will be there. At ground level, there will be large amount of defoliation. Defoliation means foliage means leaves. Defoliation means leaves, right, falling from the trees. There will be large scale accumulation of this foliage here, this fallen grass. There will be no time for the leaves to decompose. Before one leaf decomposes, right, another leaf will fall there. So there will be 1 to 2 feet a thick layer of this decomposing foliage. What happens here? It is very much easy for our reptiles like snakes to live here comfortable. They can hide themselves. On sensing the pressure, if any animal walks there, it can go and it can catch them and it can eat. Is it possible for we human beings to walk here in these jungles? Very difficult, right? Snake will bite. See, in along the Western Ghats, king cobra is very commonly found there. King cobra. Nowadays, I am seeing number of videos showing people capturing king cobras. King cobras are the most venomous snakes in India. Very easily, right? The length will be 8 to 10 feet, and the very sight of a king cobra, right, will make someone to go faint. But generally, they are very shy animal, very shy reptiles. If they see human beings, they will go and hide themselves somewhere. So under this condition, is it possible for our human ancestors who lived before Australopithecus to live comfortable in the ground? So it is this environment which forced our ancestors to live in treetop. We call this way of living as arboreal. And they lived by brachiation, which means jumping between branches to branches. So this was the environment. Suddenly what happened because of the change in environment, this rainforest like vegetation was replaced by a savanna type of vegetation. Savanna means grasslands. In a savanna, you can Google and see there are a number of images available about the grasslands. So how a grassland will look like? So there will be a number of grasses which will grow up to the height of 8 to 10 feet easily. If you go to Kaziranga, we have to know where is Kaziranga National Park. Both in Kaziranga as well as in Manas National Park. Both are there in Assam. In Kaziranga and the Manas National Park, they will take you for a safari on a elephant top. So option will be that safari. Few years back, I was there in Kaziranga during Christmas. They asked us, sir, try to be ready by 5 o'clock. I will take you out for safari. What 5 o'clock? Generally, you'll wake up after 6:30 only. What early morning? It's no sunrise. What they are asking me to be ready by 5 o'clock. But eastern part of the country, right? To my surprise, by 4 o'clock, there was sunlight. And 5 o'clock, when we went there to that safari alerting point, it was the baby elephants who came first. They just came and they greeted everyone with the tusk. Hey, come, 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 come. It's my mom who is going to take you for safari. Come with me. It's our mom who is going to take you. What a wonderful scene it was. As they said, it was just like that only. When we boarded the elephant, even the small elephants, right, their babies, they followed us in the safari. And even when we were on the top of the elephants, the grasses, right, were brushing us. Most of the times, right, we need to just push the grass like this up while sitting on the elephant top. Think how tall the grasses grow. In savanna regions, right, there will be grasses, no doubt. And what about the trees? Trees will be there, but we cannot see a continuous stretch of tree. Here and there, right, tree will be found in clusters. And in this condition, is it possible for our ancestors to live continuously on the treetop? No. It is such an environment, right? It forced our human ancestors to climb down. Australopithecus lived in such an environment. It is this environment which forced our Australopithecus to become terrestrial. And soon they have developed bipedal locomotion. So keep in mind, Australopithecus were the first human ancestors to walk on the earth using 2 legs. That is bipedal locomotion. Come. So now let us discuss about the discovery of Australopithecus. Discovery of Australopithecus. In the year 1925, Raymond Dart he discovered a fossil from a place called as Tayung in South Africa. This was a fossil of a small baby, and this fossil was named as the Tayung baby. Tayung baby. So Tayung baby is a fossilized form of baby Australopithecus. Next, in the year 1936, this was a very important discovery. Robert Brown discovered an adult cranium from a place called Sterkfontein. Again in South Africa. Adult cranium. So what do you mean by cranium? Cranium, right? This refers to that part of that. It refers to a group of bones. There are 8 number of bones which covers and protects our brain. Where do we have brain? Here, here. Where do we have? We all know that we have our brain here, correct? So I will show you one picture of it. What is this? A human skull, correct? So this particular bone, right? This particular bone which covers our brain is called as cranium. Is called as cranium. This front portion, right? We call this anterior. On the back portion, this we call it as posterior. This portion is anterior and that portion is posterior. Anterior side, posterior side. These are lateral sides. Okay. And there are few important things which we need to know about the cranium. Few important bones, not every single bone. This portion, right, this is called as frontal. This is the blue one, right, this is parietal. The one behind is occipital. Frontal, parietal region and then occipital. The sides, right, this is called as a temporal. Do not worry about the sphenoid and the other bones. Okay, so at least remember the 4 important bone or 4 important regions of the cranium. The frontal lobe or the frontal portion of the cranium, the parietal, the occipital and the temporal. Okay. Are you okay with the term cranium? Cranium. This means that these bones which covers and protects our skull, protects our brain. I told you four important part of the cranium, four important bones, the four important regions. The first one is frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal. Okay, so are you comfortable with the term cranium? Good then. So as I told you, in the year 1936, Robert Brown, he discovered one adult cranium from Sterkfontein in South Africa. Again, this was a great discovery. Even this was a fossilized Australopithecus. Next comes the great anthropologist, Mr. And Mrs. Leakey. Professor and his wife, they discovered a number of fossils of Australopithecus from one place, from one very famous place called as Olduvai Gorge. It's in Kenya-Tanzania border, in Tanzania. This Olduvai Gorge, right, in Tanzania is such an important place. This is one place, right, from where a number of fossils were discovered, not just Australopithecus, even Homo erectus and subsequent fossils were discovered from this Olduvai Gorge. So, from anthropological perspective, this Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania is very, very important for the number of fossils which were discovered here. Okay, so now let us before going into describing the anatomical characteristics, let us discuss few more things about Australopithecus. Australopithecus, right, generally they are grouped into two types. One is gracile and another one robust. Gracile and robust. Gracile, right, this refers to a short and a slender form of Australopithecus. While robust, right, this is a gigantic form of Australopithecus. For gracile, right, you remember our Virat Kohli. For robust, you can take example of some say Chris Gale, or better example is Inzi. How many? I don't know how many of you have seen now Inzamam Ulhaq playing. Inzamam Ulhaq, right? He was known for his lazy elegance. Okay, very lazy used to come, very lazy, but what a fantastic batsman. And most of the time, right, he used to become run out. But nowadays, right, because of the fitness issue, almost right, this type of fat boys in cricket are becoming zero nowadays. Earlier, right, there were number of such players, but they were known for their fitness. Even in Sama Mulghak, see, we had Arjuna Ranatunga, the great Sri Lankan captain. It was Arjuna Ranatunga who reformed this entire Sri Lankan team. Before him, his Sri Lankan team was a very pathetic team. But it is under his captaincy, right, Sri Lanka became a very prominent cricketing team, and they even won a World Cup. Arjuna Ranatunga, he is very fat at the same time, right? But Ranatunga runs very fast. He wants to make it sure that he wants to show that he was not unfit. He was a very fit player. Okay, same is the case. The Mike Gatting from England. Even in Australia, we had David Boone. Even David Boone, right? He used to be so hectic, so bulky. But once when Ian Healy was injured, he started keeping the wickets. Everyone started laughing. What? David Boone is going to keep the wicket? Yes, he kept wicket. Such a fat man keeping wickets. And how efficient he was in keeping wickets. So fantastic those days were. So now at least use this example. I can say some other fat person, but I don't know whom exactly to refer. Okay, Virat and Inzama Mulghak will be a good example. So Virat was like Grazel and the robust was like Inzama Mulghak. See guys, now by around 2 million years ago, so from 4 million years to 2 million years, right, they were comfortable. The environment was comfortable for their survival, cool and comfortable they were having. Large availability of food materials. They were eating nicely, and by around 2 million years ago, there was some change in climate. Once again, a cold weather started gripping the earth. So now there is a shortage of resources. Shortage of resources. Food materials become very scarce. They need to run for their food now. At the same time, they need to protect themselves against the cold by hiding themselves in cracks and crevices. Now see, there is one apple tree and there is only one apple hanging there. At the same point of time, Virat and our Inzama Mulghak spotted the apple. Who will run fast and who will become successful in plucking that apple from the tree? Virat can run fast and he can jump into the branches and he can collect that. But Inzi cannot run, and even if he runs right, he will not be in a position to climb the tree to eat that apple. So this was the condition, and because of the change in climate, life became very difficult for robust. Robust couldn't run fast, they couldn't hide themselves in cracks and crevices to protect themselves against the cold. As a result, right, they became extinct. On the other hand, Grazel, they managed to survive. So apart from being short and slender, even the food habits of Grazel, right, the food habits of Grazel, even that helped them to survive. Grazel, right, largely they were omnivorous. Grazel, right, Grazel were largely, I'll simply mention as G, okay? Grazel were omnivorous. Grazel were omnivorous. That means they ate hunted animals, they ate meat, at the same time they ate mm, vegetables, fruits, nuts, tubers, etc. Okay. On the other hand, robust, right? They were strictly vegetarian. How it is possible to know about the food habits of these fossils or the food habits of the Australopithecus? They lived long back, right? Our anthropologists used to say, give me a teeth, I will give their culture. A single teeth is sufficient for our anthropologist to delineate their entire culture, the environment in which they lived, everything they can tell. Here also, the molars